Hey, thanks for tuning in to my channel today. I'm going to kind of do something a little bit different. I did a video on how to paint the jig heads with a swirl and also how to tie the back ends of them. The last video that I did some orange bottoms and some yellow bottoms, and but you never seen them put together. So I'm going to do that for you today to let you get a good idea on how you can set these up. With these swirl heads, you can make any combination that you want by using the color paints that you have. So you can change up your paints and change up the back end of your jigs and come up with a totally different jig altogether. So we're going to do that today. I have some jig heads that I've already baked that are finished right here. So I'm not actually going to be using the ones that I paint today because they won't be baked on yet. So anyway, but what I'm going to be using is a 1/16 ounce ball head with I think that's a number 4 sickle hook. Yeah, it's a number 4 sickle hook on that one. And so that's what we're going to do today. So hang on with me. I'm going to switch the camera around and we'll get with it. All right, excuse the noise. I had to turn my heat gun on. But anyway, like I say, we're going to use a 1/16 ounce with a number 4 sickle hook. And I'm using a fluorescent orange, lime green, a yellow, and a black. These are all on fluid beds, and I'll just latch that into my pliers right there. Same tools that I used last time. These are all oh gosh, I don't know where I picked these up at. And these guy sent me a request and said, hey man, what are you using for a tool? This is actually a hook set from Harbor Freight. And I've just straightened the end out on it for other purposes. Mainly if I get paint up in the eye of the jig, I heat this up and I run it through right like that and open up that eyelet on it. And I preferably do that before I bake it, because after you bake it, it's a little bit harder to get off. But anyway, let's get started. I'm going to heat the jig head up. It's going to be a little bit off camera because I couldn't get everything in. But anyway, I'm going to heat it up for like 3 or 4 seconds just to put a little heat to it. Then I'm going to come back. I'm going to completely dip it in the orange, maybe twice, because sometimes that orange doesn't cover real well. And then on the green, I'm going to do just the bottom of the green, kind of like we did in the last video. And then we're going to take a little bit of the yellow and go up top, just like that. A little more detail than the last video that I shot, because you couldn't see all these powders that I was putting on there. And then the black, like I said before, you got to be kind of easy with this black. Too much of it, and it will take over that jig. So there you go. There's all 4 colors. And we're going to do a swirl on it real quick. So I'm going to go back to the heating gun. Get that paint wet. Then when I swirl, if I do this, I swirl just like that. I'm not particularly happy with that. Right there. So I'm going to give it a little more heat. Get it wet again. We'll go back with my tool. Oh, that looked a lot better once it got heated up. Alright, now we're going to heat it, smooth that paint out. And there you go, right there. And what we tried to do was leave the bottom, that fluorescent green. That way we can match up the tail end with the right colored feathers that we want to put on it, and Chanel and stuff. So there you go, there's one. I'm going to set that off to the side. I'm going to do another one real quick. Change the colors just a little bit, just like I did before. I'm going to get rid of that yellow. I'm going to go into the green. I'm going to heat the head. I'm going to go orange. And get the bottom with yellow. Then we're going to come back. I'm going to tap a little bit of green up here. A little bit of green. And then do black. And there you go, right there. That's all 4 colors. Put a little heat on it. Okay. And there you go. Yellow on the bottom, got a swirl on the top. I'm going to put it back on the heat. Get it smoothed out. And there you go. Now I got one more that I'm going to set this off to the side. Clear out my eye a little bit. I'm going to grab one more just for grins. Show you just one more different pattern you can do on here. It's really easy. Get your jig. Get a little heat on it. Let's go with the chartreuse, the green, for our main body. I'm gonna dip it a couple of times. And I'm just going to hit the bottom with the yellow, just like that. And heat it. Smooth the paint out. There you go. It's done. And it's still a good looking jig. It doesn't have quite the color the others do, but that's okay. That's still a pretty good looking jig right there. Just a little FYI. I'm going to take that and set it off to the side. Now, I've got these other jig heads that I've already painted. And this one got kind of an orange bottom to it, so I got quite a bit of orange. There's some yellow in there. There's some actually pink in this particular one that I did. So I'm going to move my camera over. Try to get you a good close-up shot. Okay, I had to kind of move my camera a little bit, turn that heat gun off, put this jig in my vise, get it down good and tight. And what we're going to build, since we got a lot of orange in this one, is we're going to use this. Orange feathers. I'm going to throw a little white in there for some contrast. And then for our sparkles, we're going to use this right here. This is like a fluorescent yellow. And then we're going to trim it out with this right here, which is yellow and like a little silver or a little, yeah, I think it's silver, yellow and silver. But anyway, that's what we're going to use. So the string that I'm going to be using is a Danville 210. This is the waxed right there. There you go. And we're going to get it started. We're going to use a little bit of Sally Hansen's. Put that on there. Start right behind the head. I'm going to work all the way to the hook point. Bring it back. Let me find my scissors. Trim off that excess. Now here comes kind of the fun part. Especially for old guys that hands don't work real well. What I do is I grab the feather right there and I grab about 3/4 of an inch of it and I cut it right there. And then I pick up my white feather and I do the same thing. I just reach in here, grab about 3/4 of an inch or a ½ inch and cut it. I got those two colors right there in my hand. So I kind of pinch them together, overlapping one another. Lay it on my jig head, kind of measure it out a little bit, and go, okay, that's about where I need it. So I'm gonna pinch it right there. Take and just cut off the excess. Hey, don't worry about it, guys. I'll sweep later. Make you a few wraps. And then I kind of adjust them just a little bit to where I can kind of get both colors going on. And then I come all the way back to the hook point. Excuse me. Up to the top, or right behind the jig head. And that's kind of what it's looking like at this point. Then I go with the fluorescent yellow right here. I peel off about maybe 4 of those because I double mine right here. And I cut those. Those are probably 3 inches long, something like that, because I know when I double them, I'm going to cut them in half. I just wrap them around the head. Make sure you don't get your eye caught in there. Well, there we go. Okay, take you a few good wraps. A lot of people like to leave all their sparkle directly on the bottom. I'm kind of one of those guys that that fish may not always hit from the bottom, so I spread mine out a little bit with my fingers and then come and wrap it up pretty tight right there. And that's what we're looking like so far. That's a good looking jig. I let my streamers go out past the feathers a little bit. Some people don't like it. I don't like anything uniform on the back end of my jig. I just don't. I like everything to be kind of as natural looking as it can. And then let me show you what this is. I'll show you how I started, and then I'll show you what it is and where I got it from. Supply is a little hard to come by and stuff lately, so I had to get out and start looking, and my wife told me you need to go to Hobby Lobby. So what I do is I just double this and I cut it in half. I do like to take a little hard as nails and put it on there. I like to seat those threads in pretty good. Don't want any water getting down into them. After I double it, take a couple of wraps on it and I wrap it in, and then I go all the way back to the top, right behind the head. And now that you're doubled, kind of push those together a little bit, make sure they're good and tight. Yep. There you go. Right there. And then take you about 3 or 4 wraps. I loop mine over, take about 3 more wraps. I loop it over again, take a few more wraps, and then I cut off the excess. And I use this for my next jig. So just kind of lay that aside. And then I whip finish them. Put my whip on, go straight down, and then on the front side or the back side, back side for me, front side for you. And then figure 4. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I put another one on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cut your access. And then what I like to do is I kind of like to look around his head. And if I've got any of that stuff blocking my head, I like to trim it off. No eyes. Don't need no eyes on this rig. Take a little Sally Hansen's. Put right there, seal that up. That is one good looking jig right there. Now, getting back to this, I'm going to show you what it is. Scrubology. This is from Hobby Lobby. This is a number 2, but I think they actually call the name number 4 yellow. And the lot number is 82812. And if I can find it on here, $4.29. And I'm going to tell you what, I hadn't even begun to put a dent in this stuff yet. And pretty good bargain. It's been holding up good in the water. No problem with that. And so anyway, you guys that want to tie your own jigs, Hobby Lobby, good place to go. That's where I get a lot of my feathers from. I tried buying them online, and if you buy the short ones like this, these are like 5 or 6 inches. They're a little harder to work with, and you don't get near as much out of them. So what you have to do on the short ones is you have to come and cut V's out of them. And they look good. Once you cut the V out of them and then you lay them on your jig, that's the tail you get out of it. So that works pretty good because nothing's uniform. It's all looking good. So anyway, that is one jig right there. Let me put it in these pliers. You can probably see it a little better. There you go. That is a good looking jig right there. Okay, I'm gonna get on with it because this video is gonna be too long if I don't quit messing around. Okay, I'm gonna grab another one, and we're gonna tie this a little bit different, or we're gonna tie it the same way, but we're just gonna show you the difference on how you can tie these. I'm gonna move all this stuff out of my way. And got a green bottom. That's what we're gonna kind of go with. So what we're gonna do with that, little Sally Hansen's there. This time, using the same type thread, the Danville 210 flat waxed, but we're gonna use it in red because I want to accent the head on this particular one. So there you go. Trim off the excess. Excuse me. Still got a little allergy thing going on. And then I'm gonna grab my black. Right there. And then I'm gonna come over and I'm gonna grab my green. Just kind of holding them all together to where I don't drop them. There, I think I got them all now. And there you go. And I don't care if they're mixed up backwards, forwards, just as long as they're kind of integrated into each other a little bit. If I can pull this one over, I don't guess I'm gonna get to. Get up there, kind of measure it, look at it, cut it, let's put it on. Got it started, pretty tight wraps. I'm gonna spread over that hook shank. And I'm pulling pretty hard on that thread, guys. Trying to make it good and tight. Got a little dip right here in the back. I'm gonna fill that in with some thread. Make sure everything kind of stays good and even right there. And then we're gonna make it shine right here. Take about 4 of those. And what I did on this particular one is I put some plastic ties about how long I wanted them. And that way there's no guessing, no measuring. I just kind of pull off what I want. Let's get another one. And I can cut right there at that tie. And there you go. And on this 1/16, it doesn't take a whole lot of this stuff. Yep. I'll do that again, guys. There we go. Tighten it up. Good snugs. I kind of fan them out a little bit. Go back to the hook point. Come up to the front. Little Sally Hansen's. Lock those threads in real good. And now, here we go. Same deal. Hobby Lobby, bunches of it. $4.30 a roll, and gosh, I don't know how many yards are on there. Gosh, I don't know. It's a lot. Goodbye. So I'm gonna double these. I'm just gonna clip them at the very end. One thing about using this particular type of stuff right here, and I don't think I told you this on the first one, but when I lay it down, I don't know if you can see this sideways. I lay it with the shiny part going away from me. It seems to lay better once it's on the jig. There we go. And then pull it straight back pretty snug. And I'm gonna wind it all the way up to the front. Get these going. Give it a good twist. They're good and tight right there. Oh yeah, that's a good rig. I'll pull that back just a little bit. Got a little too much on the head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'll wind it around. And I'm gonna cut the excess. My hook kind of moved on me a little bit. Now, what I'm gonna do to this one is I wanna put a little accent on the neck. That's why I use the red thread. And that's all it took right there. You get out my whipping tool, straight down, back behind, roll it over, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so. Do it one more time. Cut it off. Want to seal those threads up. Man, I got some red going on in that head. I've got some green going on. I got a little bit of black. I got red right behind the neck just to put a little bit of gill effect on it. And there you go. I'm going to put the pliers on it. Now that right there, folks, if I can turn it around, that's a good looking jig. I like that. Man, I'll tell you what, these swirl heads, for me, it's kind of the way to go. I'm getting old and my hands are shaking a little bit. And so for me to try to put eyes on all the time, is pretty tough. But I do it, and I do a lot of them. But anyway, if you're looking for a good-looking jig, if you guys want to make your own, there's your swirl head. If you don't want to make them, contact me at 79 Custom Jigs, and shoot, I'll sell you a few of them, or as many as you want, matter of fact, because I do make a lot of them. So there you go, folks. Hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure and like and subscribe if you haven't already. I do have some more videos coming out. The lakes are warming up right now, and so I'm going to be getting in the boat pretty quick, and we're going to be doing some live shots out there. So thanks a lot and enjoy.